Hey Traitors people, it's time for Traitors Season 3 in just a few short days. But I think it's time we talk about who is going to be a traitor versus who is going to be a faithful. Now I'm going to start this off by talking about Survivor people because listen, there are so many people playing. I mean, look at this cast. There are so many people playing that I do have to break this up into parts. I'm so sorry. So this is going to be the Survivor portion of me talking about who I think is going to be a traitor and who is going to be faithful because listen, I'm not a fortune teller. I don't really know. This is just going to be my opinions. Because Peacock has not let us know who will actually be a traitor and who will actually be a faithful yet. Now, you might be wondering, why am I just putting all the Survivor people on one? Because there's 4 of them. There are 4 people playing on Traitors Season 3 that played Survivor. And not only are there 4 of them, there are 3 of them that are very strong male players, male multi-time players, and male winners. They've all won. And then there's also Carolyn Weiger. We're going to save Carolyn for last. The first person I want to talk about is Jeremy Collins. Let me cut to the chase about Jeremy. Do I think Jeremy is going to be a faithful or a traitor? I get the feeling that he is going to be a faithful, but I get the feeling that he is going to be a very, very good faithful. He is going to be on an absolute witch hunt to figure out who is a traitor and who is a faithful. And I do believe that he will be one of those faithfuls that's correct. Do I think it's possible he could be cast as a traitor? Yes, I do. I think one of the 4 survivors absolutely will be a traitor. But the reason I think it's more likely for Jeremy to be a faithful over being a traitor is because he is just all around a really nice guy. He is a very likable guy and a very believable guy. And like I said, he's going to be on a witch hunt to find the traitors. And I think that that is going to be a really good and valuable thing for all of the other faithfuls. I do believe that the faithfuls will believe that he is a faithful. Jeremy was a very strong player on Survivor. He won Survivor Cambodia, which was the second chance season in 2015. I'm not going to go a whole lot into each of these people's tenure on Survivor. I'm just going to give brief overviews. If you are interested in a video about the ins and outs of these people, because I know I skipped a few seasons of Survivor, but I do know all of these people very, very well. So if you're interested in a more in-depth video about them, I'm willing to do that. Just let me know in the comments. But like I said, I think Jeremy will be faithful. I think he'll be a very good faithful. And I do think that all 3 of these players all 3 of these men are going to be going after each other. But I'll talk about that towards the end. Next on my list is to talk about Boston Rob Mariano. Do I think Boston Rob is going to be a faithful? Probably not. However, I am confused about what is happening after the drop of the first 7 minutes of the first episode. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is going to be a major spoiler alert. He has a chance to join the cast, but he is not officially a part of the cast. The way that he can join the cast is by someone walking up to Alan, shaking Alan's hand, and then ejecting someone else from the game. Do I think Boston Rob's going to join? I really don't know. Normally I have a good gauge on this, but I actually really don't know. I am leaning towards there being a chance that no one's willing to take that step and backstab someone. But you never know. Now, before I watched the first 7 minutes that dropped the other day, I could have told you with absolute certainty that he was going to be a traitor. With that new knowledge that he is not an original part of the cast, I am unsure. The reason that I thought that he was absolutely without a doubt going to be a traitor is because he needs the advantage of being a traitor. He is going to be a major target with not only the other 3 Survivor players, but he's also going to be a major target among everyone. Everyone knows who Boston Rob is. He is a household name. And if there is anyone left on this cast that doesn't know who Boston Rob is, don't worry, because Carolyn Weiger is absolutely going to tell them. But we'll talk about her at the end. Back to Boston Rob. He is an amazing Survivor player, but I am unsure that he is going to be good at the Traitors, and I will talk about that in just a second. So, Boston Rob has played 5 seasons of Survivor. Well, 6 if you count IOI. On IOI, he was a mentor, so 6 if you count IOI. He has won Survivor once. He won Redemption Island. He has been on Amazing Race twice, and he was just recently on Deal or No Deal Island where he almost won. Sorry, spoiler alert. He almost won, but he didn't win. I do want to mention this about Boston Rob. I know a lot of you are burnt out with Boston Rob. He was on Deal or No Deal Island where he was the only celebrity, which was like the network being like, hey, look, watch this show because this guy's on it. And I'm going to be honest with you, I would not have watched Deal or No Deal Island had I known that it was just a cast of newbies. I did not think that it was a good idea. I'm so glad I watched it. I loved it. I had a lot of fun. Boston Rob is the only reason I watched it. And so he has had a lot of press recently. He's been in a lot of places recently. And so I understand that a lot of you are burnt out and tired of seeing him on your TV screens. I personally am not. And in a way, I really do hope that he enters the game. I am just fearful that he will enter the game at the expense of one of the other Survivor players, because I could see Carolyn Weiger going up and letting him in order to be buddy-buddy with him. I could also see somebody like Sandoval or even Efron going up and getting somebody else out just so that they can have a close ally. I think that's a terrible thing to do, especially before you know whether you're cast as a faithful or a traitor. But we'll see what happens. But I digress. Now, I have seen speculation that in the event Boston Rob is able to enter the game, that he enters as a faithful. And that is because it would be so incredibly obvious for him to be cast as a traitor. But I disagree, because it was very obvious for Dan and for Cody to be cast as traitors, and they were cast as traitors. But you really never know what production's going to do, because Cirie and Parvati being cast as traitors wouldn't be something I would expect. Well, actually, I would kind of expect for Parvati to be cast as a traitor, but definitely not Cirie. But she was they both were amazing, but Cirie was an amazing traitor. Because part of being a traitor is that you have to make people believe that you're a faithful. I mean, it's just the truth. But also, some Survivor alum have made for amazing faithfuls as well, much like Sandra. So we truly never know what they're going to do with Boston Rob. But I am leaning towards he does enter the game and that he enters as a traitor. But I also want to say this. I don't see a world in which Boston Rob would be willing to do a show like this without knowing ahead of time that he would be entering as a traitor. At least that's what I would have said before seeing the first 7 minutes. Now, after seeing the first 7 minutes, I'm like, maybe he was willing to take the risk. But I do think that these people are not cast as traitors, not at least originally. I think recruits are different. I do believe that they are cast as traitors only if they want to be a traitor. But now we need to talk about why I think he's going to be good or bad at this game. What is his gameplay going to be like on the Traitors? Well, I don't think he's going to be that good. Boston Rob has never really been that good of a game player. I'm sorry, I know that was a hot take, but he hasn't. Boston Rob is able to win competitions, find idols. He's amazing at that. And in a game like Survivor, that is all you need. Survivor is about winning the competitions. It's not so much about the social aspect of the game. Is it in there a little bit? Yes, it is. But as long as you're able to consistently win competitions and or find idols and use them appropriately, you can win the game. Or I guess I should say you can at least make it to the finale night with that. I would not consider Boston Rob sneaky, and I think you have to be sneaky to play this. I would consider him a little bit of a strategist, especially after seeing him on Deal or No Deal Island. He does know what he's doing, and he has strategy. I just don't know that he is sneaky enough to win a game like the Traitors. I just think that he is not going to win. He's going to be voted out early. Hell, they might even do him like Dan did Johnny Bananas, if you want me to be honest. Now, that's enough about Boston Rob. We talked way too much about him. Let's talk about Tony. Tony Velasco. I can never say his last name. Tony. You know who I'm talking about. Tony is one of those ones that I truly have no idea whether or not he'll be a faithful or a traitor. I really can't put my finger on it. But I do know this. He is a huge threat in this game. He won, not only has he played Survivor 3 times, but he won Survivor twice. And he is the only person other than Sandra, so he is the only male 2-time winner of Survivor. Also, the season that he won was an all-winners season. Tony is an extremely great game player, but he's also extremely chaotic. I don't normally feel like extremely chaotic people are great cast on the Traitors, whether they're a traitor or faithful personally. But I do think in Tony's case, his type of chaos is going to make for really good TV for us. For that reason, I do think Peacock will want to keep him on the show for a while, and they might just go ahead and cast him as a traitor. Because like I keep saying, traitors are always at a clear advantage. Okay, now let's talk about Carolyn. Do I think she's going to be a faithful as a traitor? Well, if she was cast as a traitor, I would actually be shocked. Carolyn is way too unpredictable, and I really do feel like they want predictable people, or at least people that they feel are going to be good at being a traitor. And with the type of unpredictability that I think she would bring to the show, she would just be bad at it. I think production wants to have some kind of chance that at least these people that are cast as traitors will go far in the game, because they have to have a traitor in the game in order to continue having a show. Like, if the traitors go out the first 3 weeks, then what do we do? But I think Carolyn would absolutely just blow up everybody's game, including herself, if she was cast as a traitor. And some of you are about to be like, oh no, she made it to Final 3 on Survivor. She's a great player. I don't think she's strategic. I don't think she's a legend. I don't think she's that great. I think she was carried to Final 3, if you want me to be truthful. Now, I think it would be comical if they cast her as a traitor. I just don't really want to see it. I don't want to waste my time watching that. That's all the time I have for Survivor, people.